I mean, she's Nigerian anyways by birth, so it's fine.
Exactly. So it's not even about eligibility. She has the right, the birth right to be Nigerian.
She's Miss Nigeria. Yeah, exactly. It's the story of Chidinma Adetshina. Chidinma Adetshina was born to a Nigerian woman in South Africa that was living in South Africa at the time. They got the South African citizenship, and Chidinma, now that she's an adult, contested for Miss South Africa last year. Or was it earlier this year? She contested for Miss South Africa, and she was so close to winning. I think before the final pageant, some South Africans that had a very strong voice on social media came out to say no way Nigeria will win Miss South Africa, that it's just not possible and she should be disqualified from the pageant. Their voice was loud enough that the government got involved, the South African government, and Chidinma was disqualified from the Miss South Africa pageant at the time. But when it became an online conversation, a lot of Nigerians also rushed to back Chidinma, basically saying, why should she be banned? Yeah. Why should she be disqualified? Because she met all the eligibility criteria. But what some of the people were saying is, no way, we don't want a Nigerian to end up as Miss South Africa. And this is going back to the history of xenophobia against other Africans in South Africa, especially Nigerians in the recent years. So now there was a comment that Chidinma's mom might have done some sort of identity theft to get a South African citizenship, and there's something illegal going on there. Anyways, she was disqualified, and the state that her mom came from in Nigeria, I don't know, but anyways, she came to Nigeria, met the eligibility criteria for the Miss Nigeria pageant, and she became Miss Nigeria. Now, there's a question for you here, because some Nigerians then came up again and said, oh, this is fair. A lot of people have worked out to be Miss Nigeria in that pageant, and Chidinma just comes from to be a part of the Miss Nigeria pageant after in a very short while and won the competition. Now, that's not where the story ends, but just hold that place, yeah? There's a question there on, do you think it's fair? Is there any conversation of fairness to be had in the first place? What do you think about that? But anyways, now this family, they left South Africa, they participated in Miss Nigeria, life goes on. This is what you would think, right? And then recently, the South African government, they carried out their investigation. I would think if you carry out your investigation, you'll find that, identity theft occurred, or they didn't meet the eligibility criteria for South African citizenship at the time that they got it, so we withdraw their citizenship, right? This is not what the government decided to do. What they decided to do was to say Chidinma and her mother should report to the government and convince the government as to why they deserve a South African citizenship. Makes no sense when I think about that, but okay. What do you think Chidinma and her mom did? They just did not respond to that call. And I think their citizenship was withdrawn. Okay, cool as well. Now, because Chidinma won Miss Nigeria, she will be in Mexico competing for Nigeria in the Miss World competition. And again, there's a South African organization that actually wrote to the Miss World competition asking Chidinma to be disqualified from the Miss World competition on the basis that they have this identity theft case against Chidinma's mother. And now they're asking her to be disqualified from the competition. And it just seems a little bit interesting that they just want this girl to fail so bad. They want to bring her down so bad. Now, another note. Again, remember, she met all the eligibility criteria to participate in the Miss South Africa pageant, right? When she lost, when they disqualified her, the person that ended up winning that competition is a South African, but a white South African. And there was a lot of conversation on the internet that, so you would rather a black South African, but that maybe has background from another African country, you rather they lose, but you are fine with a Dutch that became South African, to win. And a lot of so this people with a very loud voice on the internet as well. I keep saying a lot of South Africans, but I don't know if they're a representation of or the whole South Africa, because I've also seen South Africans comment under it and say this is just hatred. This is not making sense. But some of them came out and said, "Oh yeah, absolutely, we love our white people," which is fine. You should absolutely love your white people. They're South Africans. You're cohabitating together and all that stuff. But why don't you just love everyone? Why do you say we love our white people but we hate you fucking Nigerians? We're all Africans at the end. And when we look at the shared history between Nigeria, for example, and South Africa, I don't think anyone deserves to hate each other in this sense. We should actually find a way to bond and come together and stand together for the betterment of Africa as a whole. So it's a little bit surprising when I see that we would love everyone but our fellow black people. It just doesn't sound right to me. I'm not saying love all the black people and not love the white people. I'm saying love everyone. That's my stand. But what are your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like this whole situation, Chidinma's experience, I would say, definitely reveals like the double standard in how national identity is often like defined and also defended, if I may. I feel like, yeah, like the treatment really shows how, like, why, like, for someone with this sort of multi or like, this national identity thing or like having double background, in as much as you can be celebrated for your talent, for your success, and every good thing that you have done for your quote and unquote like home country, yeah, there are still biases against foreign born people or residents, your accomplishment or your achievements. And yeah, I think it's quite sad. I've seen that not just in this case, also while in Germany. I made friends with a lot of people with like foreign background, and they really struggle in Germany also with this same situation. So yeah, I would just say generally, this is a big issue that the world needs to address. If we want to go global, or we just want everyone to stay in their places, right? Like, just live in your country. Don't come out to mix with other people, because it's a problem for the offspring of such people. Exactly. It's like we want to make it seem like it is, but yeah, then there's this new being born into this identity crisis situation, and is finding it difficult to navigate. And this is one of such examples, right? In terms of if it's fair or not, I can definitely understand why some people would feel like it's not fair. But at the end of the day, I would assume I didn't follow the story fully well. So I would assume that the Miss Nigeria pageant was, yeah, held to the standard of the eligibility criteria that a winner should have. She definitely passed that, and she was made the winner, right? So, I mean, and I've seen this lady that we are talking about. I mean, to me, she looks like a Miss Nigeria, she's
To me, I know, man, bro. I swear. Apart from the looking bad, she's exposed. From my perspective, I thought it was a deserved win. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Everyone requires a little bit of luck in getting to where you get to. For
an X
someone like
factor.
Chidinma, yeah, but for someone like Chidinma, our X factor, our luck actually came at a point where she was super broken and super down. And a lot of Nigerians thought, "Now we're gonna lift you up, we'll support you." I remember there's this person that I read on Twitter. I forgot his name now. I think Osaretin Victor or something. Is an OG, like an older man that talks about investment and all that stuff. But I think he spent some time reading about the Chidinma situation on Twitter, and he lifted it on his head and be like, "I know this is not my forte. It's like Elumelu or something. Like, maybe the guy, of course, this person is maybe not Elumelu level, but someone that is in the more, let's invest, these are the businesses that I've invested in." He has done a lot of crazy stuff. He has companies and all that stuff. Suddenly just lifted it on his head like, "Oh no, I will support this Chidinma girl forever." because she does not deserve what is happening to her.
Pisses me off to really think about this fact that there are some people somewhere putting their energy and time into such act. And I'm wondering, why do you hate someone so much that you devote your life's cause or your life's mission into breaking them down or turning them apart, right? So my question now is why, because this is not the first time this old South African xenophobic, are they just like this towards Nigerians?
This is an interesting one. So I think it's mainly Nigerians, but not just Nigerians. Because I've also seen some people from other South African countries, like so Southern African countries,
Yeah.
that have experienced certain things like this as well. But it's mainly Nigerians. That economic divide that is in South Africa, to see that Nigerians are able to look at it and feel like, even though I'm an immigrant here, it's similar to some of the things that African immigrants will face in the US as well. It's much more it's much stronger and much more violent in the way some South Africans are expressing it. And again, mostly the broke ones. I'm sorry, but the locations that some Nigerians mentioned on the internet that you shouldn't go to, broke ones. If you go to the areas where it's like, the rich South Africans, the baller South Africans, which they have a lot of those as well, they love Nigerians. They collaborated with us on Afrobeats. They collaborated, like, they love Nigerians, and we love them as well. We love them as well. Like, we should be one. Yeah, but we have people that are not too happy at home, and they just want to project it to everyone else. That's what I think.